we are activating the webinar, the live stream. This is, the anticipation of like 2 weeks.
Do people just sort of tend to trickle in?
Yeah, it should trickle in like normally 5 minutes in.
Okay. No worries.
Yeah, that's why I was surprised that you were actually on time.
Right place, right.
Whoa, hey.
Well, it's tough, I guess, with everybody being kind of all over the world, right?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah,
Where
I guess so. I'm normally based in Sydney, but I'm in Barcelona at the moment.
You're where? Boston?
Barcelona. You?
Oh, Barcelona.
Yeah.
Awesome. What are you doing over there?
I'm just chilling out until I have to go to fucking San Fran. I love San Fran. Why am I angry about that?
When are you going to be in SF?
I'll be there from Tuesday onwards, right? And essentially I'll be there for Eve San Fran and a bunch of other things. I mean, you have the epicenter.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a ton of stuff going on. That's cool.
The pro. People haven't. Oh fuck. Please go to yes. What's up?
Hello.
Thanks for the account the other day. The Zoom went smoothly for the meta transactions chat.
Cool. Sounds good.
I'll probably give it like 3 more minutes. It's normally like 5 minutes in, then everyone trickles in.
Everybody enjoying the Friday?
We seem to have a mutiny on our hands.
Which mutiny?
The Figma mutiny.
Yes, Figma. Are
Right?
you pro or against?
Oh, I love it. The problem is that, so we choose software, being everybody so remote, you choose software so that people can see what everybody else is working on passively, because there's no office to just like drift by somebody's computer. And so InVision has been really great for that.
I redesigned the document and like Laura couldn't find it.
Rex, it was pretty clear to me that it was on the right side of the document.
Hey, I just wanted to declutter it, like add some hierarchy in there, so it flows nicely. It's not just a bunch of links. I mean, if you scroll down, right?
The Comic Sans has a nice touch.
Yeah.
But sorry, you're saying there's so folks are using different.
Yeah. I really suck at this, promoting everyone to panelist.
It's I don't know what we're gonna do, but it's Amy's problem now. So
I just like held up like 3 people because I didn't look at the panelist thing. It's like I'm normally just here like a stupid potato sitting here, like just
a stupid potato.
like rent seeking.
I think you're a smart potato, but that's your chief responsibility as moderator.
Yep. Cool.
You're the best potato.
I think we'll give it like 1 more minute.
Anyway, I really like Figma.
Yo, what's wrong with it?
Nothing's wrong with it. It's just we've put down a good chunk of change on InVision, and they are, as partners for design, a really good channel. And maybe giving us some money for the party, the DevCon party, right? And
yeah.
So it gives me a stomachache every time somebody's like, I love Figma. And it's like, me too, but could you be quiet about it? So.
Figma guys are so nice. They're awesome. They just
really?
walk. Yeah, they walk.
Okay, we have 10 panelists now, so we might as well kick off the show. So yeah, would love to just, Dan, would you like to introduce yourself? Just quick 15 seconds.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Dan, head of design at Kyokin, blockchain consultancy. Previously at Uber doing product design for a number of years.
Could you pick someone else? We're trying to do this way. This is give ups thing. They choose someone else.
I'll just go kind of in line. I think Mitch.
All right, let's do it. My name is Mitch. I'm with ETH Prize, which is focusing on bountying pain points in the Ethereum ecosystem. Ryan Hoffman.
Sorry, I'm unmuting issue. Hi, everybody. I'm Ryan. I'm with the design facilitation group. Right, Amy.
Hi, I'm Anya. I'm at Uport at Consensus, a product designer.
Anya, I would love for you to pick someone.
Sure.
The trick is someone who hasn't gone before.
So tricky. Amy?
Hi guys, I'm Amy. I'm design ops at Consensus. Philip.
Hey everyone. Sorry, I'm at the Apple Store still. Whee! So I'll try to make it brief. I'm a UX researcher at Status, and looking forward to seeing a lot of you in Prague, hopefully.
Philip, could you pick the next person? We're gonna get really good at this by like.
It's never gonna happen.
I will pick. Did Laura go already? She looks very happy. She looks like she's ready to go.
I am ready to go. Hi. Okay, hi everyone. I'm Laura and I'm part of the product design team. Well, just the design team at Consensus. And I'm working on a few things like the design system and design research. And on this party at DevCon and also the UX audit, logistics, and execution with Amy. Nice. And I nominate Austin.
Austin, we'd love for you to introduce yourself. Okay, he can't because he's at work. He's just listening in, so just Hadesh.
Okay.
I think I'm butchering this, but I'd love for you to introduce yourself, mate. Since I think he is the last one.
Hadassah, I think that was me.
There we
all
go.
Good. Yeah. Close. It's all good. Hey everyone, I am a design facilitator at Consensus and getting stoked for Prague and happy to be on this Friday call.
Awesome.
And,
my bad.
Has everyone gone?
I believe so. Yeah, I'm Peter.
What the hell?
Peter Pan. Whoa, what's wrong, Sarah?
You gotta speak up for yourself. It's oh my god, it's a tough world out there.
Man, you guys are.
It's just so tricky.
I'm Sarah, and the only reason I'm here is to convince Peter to watch Mean Girls.
Yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. But
Wow.
You can put a bounty on it and try to make it happen, but it's like.
Oh my god, All right, BRB.
Network. So, yeah, before I was interrupted by Sarah. Hello, I'm Peter Pan with like number 3 in it. See it somewhere. I'm usually on Twitter making memes, and I'm working on meta transactions for Tensorem. And today, kicking off the first slot, we're going to experiment with something questionable. I am hosting. I'm going to show you guys something today, which is a short, fun thing that my team built. So essentially, I'm going to share my screen now, right? So essentially, you guys all know the ENS, right? It's a pain in the ass to actually claim a top level domain name. You got to actually claim it, then reveal your actual claim within.
Can we hide that participation link?
Yeah. Okay. So you got to claim it and do everything and so on. And I guess it's not the best user experience, but however, with Tensorem, right, we actually built ENS subdomain factory. So essentially, this thing essentially spits out subdomain names for users, and all it takes for users to claim one is basically just one transaction. So essentially, you go here, and then you just type in a username. Yes. So let's say that, and you claim your identity, I guess your subdomain name that points to the ETH address. You have one transaction, right? And then you basically claimed it, and the transaction is yet to actually basically go through. But in ENS, it points towards that address. And the powerful thing is if you actually abstract away the subdomains part of it, and basically, so it allows you to just simply create a username, and it can also even generate in terms of the first crypto experience, right? For onboarding, you can actually probably generate the private key on the device, right? And then point the username straight to it. And this would be even cooler if you have like a shared registry, a central registry full of different subdomain, subdomains, right? From different people. So you can kind of actually use like Van de Sand's 1077 like universal login design system from that. But yeah, so it's gone through, and essentially swag1 at tensid.xyz should point, give it any second, should point to my address. Done. That's basically as easy as that. And the point why I'm showing you this today, essentially, it's just another tool in the box for onboarding and for different things that it's just another, I guess it's like a technique they can just think about and use. It's a simple concept, but I think it'd be really powerful. And that's basically it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So as far as a project goes, is that pretty well wrapped up now, or was there a future roadmap of things coming down the pipeline?
Yeah, essentially, so Tensorem's kind of building two things. One, we're building the meta transaction protocol of the rest of the community, right? On the other hand, we're building like basically a toolbox full of different, it's like a developer SDK toolbox full of like different things for user experience, for creating a user experience, I guess. And one of them is a subdomain factory. And we have other things planned out, for example, just standard multi-sigs with, I guess, identity multi-sigs with like key management there. And we've been working on other stuff like key recovery. And so that fits into that side of the puzzle. We're really focusing on, say, meta transactions at the moment. So this is kind of sideline, at least for now.
Cool. And for folks that are just kind of getting new to the space, the old and busted is what, as opposed to this new hotness?
Sorry, I do not know what you mean by that.
So I was just using a Men in Black quotation. But like, what is onboarding now without this feature that you guys have developed?
So essentially, onboarding right now, users actually have to handle the private key, if not seed phrase, or generate it then save it. This potentially could even abstract away completely, where users just simply locally on the computer they store the private key, right, and then you just generate a subdomain username, right? They just see a username and click somehow, like, I guess it needs to tie in with key recovery for that sense as well. But I think the old and busted is that just takes, you just don't have to handle a string or even seed with this. I mean, for example, you could you don't need to say enter seed phrase or even handle that until later on when you have like valuable, I guess, transactions that happen, right? Then you could prompt it. Yeah.
Cool.
So that's basically any other questions. Beltran was supposed to present. Any other questions first?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Somebody who doesn't yet have a wallet and is on my to-do list to do and knows little to nothing about blockchain. Could you talk one more time the same question? What was it? It was old and busted, and what was the new version? I really liked it, whatever the new version is. But could you talk about it as somebody, like as somebody who does not understand blockchain? Because I think I have a question, but I want to make sure I understand what you're saying before I ask it.
1 second, I gotta promote some people to a panelist. Sorry. So essentially, for new users that come on board, you either have to save a seed phrase, or I mean, that pattern's actually kind of depreciated because we've kind of like left it later, or we're prompting users later to save seeds and do recovery when they actually have something of value to lose. But I guess one thing is that we could let users simply log on to dApps, right? I mean, to log on with dApps, currently you have to use MetaMask and all that, and essentially sign messages. And I guess you're handling a private key, a string of numbers in some way, shape, or form. If we can abstract away and keep it all in the, I guess, the client side, right? We could potentially just let users use the username and keep it above board. That's all they see and think about. Web 2.0 paradigms, essentially.
And so that's all they see and think about forever, or until they have something of more value that requires like ethically more knowledge to be able to use responsibly for the community and oneself?
I mean, there's different options, right? You probably try to hide it forever if that works. I'm actually haven't thought too much about that, if we can just abstract that fully away. But yes, we've been thinking about essentially only later on, right? Do we actually show users things like the seed phrase? And if they want to export an account or whatever, then we kind of onboard them and educate them that this is your identity, or this is your username, or this is your passport that you keep. And yeah. Okay,
so then one question I have is, I would also love to hear in the context of the explanation, like what is one user story or like human story of a person who has had the frustration that you're solving? Like I mean, this particular feature.
User story feature. I mean, in terms of the problem itself, or like how it.
Just like is there like a real person that you know that you have talked to that this has been inspired by? And I'd love to hear that story or that composite.
I mean, essentially, someone who's never ever used, say, CryptoKitties, right? They just see a game and they want to play it. Somehow they have to actually, I guess, they go for the stages of dealing with MetaMask and so on, and I guess they have to actually sign messages, and they are exposed to like the seed phrase. I keep coming back to that.
I guess my question
I can't really think.
Is this a real person, or is this a hypothetical?
Situation? I'll hop in. There's definitely been a lot of folks with a lot of pain in this. I think it was Cowrie, and I think that there've been a handful of other teams that have kind of documented like, okay, CryptoKitties is one of the most popular things on Ethereum. What does it take for you to buy a CryptoKitty cradle to grave? And depending on who you ask, it could be several dozen steps. A lot of what I think Peter and his team have been working on kind of abstract some of those steps away and some of those pain points to kind of move this to more of a Web 2 space. So I'm not sure if you guys had like either a persona that you were thinking of, or if you were chatting with different people. But yeah, this is a very, very, very real problem.
Yeah, and so I wasn't questioning the problem. I was really curious to hear the human story of like what inspired it just to help me better understand it as the technology component part. I just don't speak the language yet. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, essentially the main point is that when it comes to actually register, I mean, one part of it is that when users actually sign in, potentially, they only deal with a username. That's instead of a string of numbers. It's not that amazing, but it is like a extra step that.
I mean, I think what I find so interesting about it and what I'm trying to learn as somebody who is new to this space, but kind of storied and experienced design at like a systems level and people, places, government services, those kinds of things, is like, it doesn't have to. Sometimes the thing that fundamentally changes someone's experience is unsexy at a level that's like almost hard to describe. But it fundamentally changes the way in which you're able to engage at large with that larger experience of the thing that you want. And so I'm excited to hear about all of the things that are saying like, wow, here's this abstract space. How do we make it like slightly more tangible? There's 7 trillion steps we could change. Where do we start? And how do we start small? And how do we make that one thing slightly better? And how do our learnings from that inspire the rest of this kind of, these experience points? I think it's really cool. Thanks for sharing.
On point. Beltran's in the house now, along with Akil, which I finally let into the house after opening the door. Beltran, would you like to present your ENS domain names? Or all aboard? I mean, my bad.
Yes,
yeah.
Sorry, I had a little problem there. I wanted to answer also the question by Ryan. That's the way you pronounce it, sorry.
It is
a lot of
not your fault. My parents spelled it weird.
Okay, sorry.
You got it. You were totally.
I lost, unfortunately, sorry, Peter, your presentation. So maybe I will misspeak about what you're doing. But
yeah.
A lot of what you solved and that also other teams have started tackling comes from the need that we found at ENS. I'm the UX designer at ENS. And we've done some research about that, seeing how people try to get a name and run away. I've put in front non-coiners, people that know nothing about the blockchain, and say, hey, try to get your own name. They maybe some of them knew about addresses and they were worrying about what the hell is this, etc. But then you drop them on there and the first version of ENS was completely hackish. So in itself, it's a mess. Okay, so in itself, ENS was not a good starting point. But then you try to say, okay, maybe you need a wallet. And what is a wallet? Then they start to ask all these kind of questions that it was kind of almost obvious that we should turn it upside down, the problem. Instead of you having to already own a wallet, already own some Ether before you can get a name, we should turn the problem upside down and say, you get a name, and then maybe we give you everything. And so I don't know how far actually you've gone beyond giving the name with the thing that we wanted to present today. Also, maybe, I don't know if anybody saw it. It's a hack that we did, Amy, who is here as well at ETH Berlin. And thanks also to Austin Griffith, who also is here. We managed to create this flow that feels like Web 2. We're probably like similar to what Peter showed. You land on a page, you get a name, you probably write a password, and boom, you are using a dApp without ever knowing about a wallet, having to install, having to lose context to learn all these things. Because one of the things that we saw in the research is that they immediately, when they don't understand something, they Google it, okay? And so they're leaving pages and pages and opening 3 articles to understand one thing, and maybe half an hour later they've understood it. So it's a mess today's flow to onboard users. And So the thing that we did, maybe I can show it to you. Where do you share the screen? Complicated. More. No. Where's the
Yeah,
share?
the key is to essentially make Web3 as similar as it is on a mental model, like level to Web2. And I guess private keys is, and I guess usernames is something we wanted to abstract with subdomains. And the fact that you can create them with one transaction potentially, you know, if not for free with meta transactions.
Exactly. And so just to, there's this article somewhere around here. I should find it on Medium. You can look at it. I'm not going to, no, this one. The all aboard. I was not really prepared today. Oh, what was it? Well, let's go here. There is an article where you have the presentation also, all aboard here. You have also a video of the demo, so I'm not going to show it. You can search for all aboard Alliance for Mass Adoption and skip the text. And here there's the video demo and you can watch it. I'm not going to repeat what you can watch by yourself there. What I want to is to start thinking about how it works. So you land on the page, you do exactly what he showed you. You get a username and a password. Okay, you are connected. After a while, we are not signing any. We are not showing any pop-up. We are not doing anything, and you start using the dApp. What we've created is this idea of an alliance for mass adoption. So these technical solutions that both Alex van de Sand and Austin created allow this amazing user flow. And so a user gets on a page, they are given a wallet, they don't have to know what a wallet is, but they don't have any Ether. So what we added is a strategic layer, which is we are imagining an alliance of companies who band together and who give an allowance to the user. So I'm going to give you, not only I'm going to pay for your gas to deploy your identity contract, I'm also going to give you a little bit of Ether for you to play around. And of course, you're not going to send it away. I'm not going to pay for you to get money for free. We are going to restrict the use of that allowance to using only the dApps of the alliance. Is a way to incentivize people to use certain dApps and not only play. And it's, we call it the customer acquisition cost on the Web3. On a normal company has to pay for, to onboard a user on their product or service. On the blockchain, we have a shared problem, which is we need to onboard them onto the blockchain. And so you have to imagine this as only a starting point, you know, a way to reduce the friction to zero. That friction that I was relating from the UX research. Okay, we need to take that out, and after they are hooked to Web3, we are little by little educating them. So maybe they can earn it. They can earn some coins or some Ether or some tokens from other dApps. And as we could do, like in status, of course, that as soon as you get some Ether of your own, we start to educate you and say, hey, you should probably start to learn about private keys, or, you know, hey, there are these other dApps, or, hey, you know why you're waiting for this transaction is because the blockchain. So instead of giving all the information all at once, we're giving it little by little. And all these things that I'm relating right now emerged also from the UX and conference in Berlin. We did an onboarding roundtable. There were 20 other great people talking about onboarding. And we are going to have at DevCon yet another roundtable, which I am guessing, or one of the open questions for the community is can we imagine a different way to perform this roundtable? Instead of, hey, I did this, you did that, can we maybe work on something concrete? So open to questions about the Alliance and about this.
In terms of getting to somewhere concrete, you could probably prepare asynchronously and share whatever it's been working on before, even send out a template, right, of saying like, this is what you would probably want to share in a GitHub or like a folder or Drive. And then hopefully people would take a look at it beforehand, right? I mean, that's hard, but at least if one person takes a look at it, you can drive a much more fruitful discussion rather than just being, okay, now we're here, what next, right?
Yes. Ryan, those things answer your question, your previous question?
I'm so new to the space that I feel as if anytime somebody talks to me about it, I understand like I'll be generous to say like 8 to 15% like at any given time of like what's being said. And just hoping as it continues to wash over me, like more sticks each time. So I appreciate the explanation. I understand the need and I understand the approach of kind of switching the steps. Or I think that was maybe Laura starting to speak, and it's fascinating and I appreciate it and excited to hear how the conversation continues. Thanks for taking the time.
It's very hard. It's not an easy thing. Like, it takes a long time to learn the jargon and know the ins and outs, you know. Yeah. You almost need like a tour guide of like what you do when you first like arrive in the space as a designer. It's like use a code wallet, go play with these different dApps. It's like get angry at these things, you know, and come back and share your experiences. Yeah. And
Ryan, you are in a privileged position if you want, because many of us have passed through that initial doubt, and maybe some things we skip over it. So please do voice your doubts, especially if you're a designer. Bring us to the reality of, hey, you're speaking out of things that people don't understand.
It makes us think in weird ways we probably haven't thought of things before, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
I think even in a different way, it's like, for example, a lot of my friends who come into the space, they do a project and then they win like a bounty or something like that, right? And so for even people who are in the space, they struggle with like, how do I claim this? How do I share my bounty? And so it doesn't matter where you are, I think, in the process, eventually you are going to have to interact, do a transaction on your own. And so like, how can we make that journey as smooth as possible for people who do know Web3 and also do not know Web3?
I love the comment that Peter made about almost having like a buddy. And I think that might be like the hack that's so obvious we haven't thought about. Just the buddy system as you join the space to onboard designers and to just make sure that they're letting them know all the other events that are taking place and all the other conversations and all the other hackathons that they can join. Because even I haven't been in this space for that long either. And every day I'm learning that there's like a new group and, you know, there's magicians and there's like guilds and there's a lot out there.
Totally. Just to piggyback off that, just an idea that came to mind, like it'd be cool to have some sort of like universal designer onboarding doc that could be like shared in the community, that like, here's a list of resources, like, you know, upcoming events, like wallets that you should, you know, sign up for and kind of things that you can do, like do these 10 steps to kind of get a basic familiarity with the space.
The interplanetary welcome wagon.
Yeah, because I mean, it's kind of silly to reinvent the wheel each time, you know, somebody joins.
And on that cue, I want to remember that we are doing with Akil, who is here, and with Alejandro Machado, who's not here, we are doing a community-wide research for all those things, you know. We are building a Web3 design system, and right now we are going through the interviews to build both some guidelines and a library of components. So are Laura and the consensus design team. So there's two different teams doing research on those things. Sorry, go ahead, Laura.
There are two different teams doing research on the same subject, but right now we have been in the early stages and kept things kind of close, but as soon as we have those component library ups, and as soon as we have, something to show, we will definitely be sharing all of our research, all of our work. So I hope that in the future we can unite in all of our work as soon as we're ready to get there. Right now, it's just a little early for us.
For us, it's so early that we are still interviewing you. So this is this was a call. If you're in here, please get on the community and get on a call with us, and we'll schedule an interview with all of you to bring out your experience. That was my pitch for this. That was only the announcement. So anything else? Peter, you're muted. I don't know.
I said I love data points. Yeah. And I just saw the bounty go up about me watching Mean Girls. That's
You're
fun.
welcome. It's for your own good.
Segueing to the consensus crowd, would Amy and Laura like to talk about DevCon participation updates?
Sorry, I'm out eating a sandwich, so yes, so we have the participation link out right now for devs and designers to sign up, and we've actually had more than a few designers sign up, so it's really exciting. We still need to see a lot more, and pretty soon we'll be able to put together teams and designers that have similar interests so that they're able to participate together. And all those that sign up for an audit will sign up for the design awards automatically.
I just want to add that we're actually going to be doing a we were able to get a table at ETH-SF if anybody is going to be there for a pre-trial of the audit. So any designers are going to be at SF, come by. We're going to try to see so that we can, I think the biggest challenge here for us is establishing kind of the flow of the audit. Like we have a general skeleton about like, you should do intros and you should walk through the DAP and then work on a critique, but we're really focusing on what are the factors we're looking at, especially because there are different categories like onboarding, testing, and we want to make sure that it doesn't become just like a regular, just like a non-use, like a first user test, but also it actually gets in depth and that you're actively working on something. So yeah, SF, please reach out to me. We're going to try to, we secured the table for Friday. It's Friday, late night.
Yeah, and if you're sharing that doc, sorry if it's too loud, I'm still at the Apple Store. Yay! If it's an open doc that you can share, I could try to give feedback when I have time, if that's something that's possible.
Yes.
Also, just to piggyback off that, we have a UX node at the Web3 Summit as well. So if you guys want to facilitate something there, that'd be great as well.
I have a question. Will anybody be at Web Summit, not Web3 Summit, but the regular one in Lisbon?
When is it?
I believe it's November 5th through the 7th or so.
You mean if we survive from the 10, 15 days of...
From the 100 conferences?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, I know there's some people from Consensus that will be going, and I was considering seeing, like, going for research to see, like, what opportunities there would be for us as a community, but I was just wondering if anybody else was going to be out there, if it was worth going.
You should take a detour and come to Andalusia.
I'm taking all the detours. I don't want to come back home.
Yeah, Lisbon's a far, long way from Prague. So we have an extra point before we end this call, unless anyone else wants to bring up anything else they're working on or whatever. So there's minus 33 days to DevCon, and I'm not sure who actually put this here, but we probably have to start thinking about formats for breakout sessions, for example, gas abstractions, identity, onboarding, and how we can make 2-hour roundtables really useful and productive, and not just sharing projects and ideas. So essentially, from what I understand, is that we have a bunch of, I guess, talks and main conference talks that are accepted, but we also have a UX hackerspace. And this sounds like basically, how do we organize our hackerspace for the duration of DevCon so that it's productive? I'm not sure who actually put this here, so if anyone can shed light on it, Beltran, please shoot ahead.
Yeah, it's what I was talking earlier on, that it's good that we have these moments in which we meet and present each other our own ideas. But we saw at the ETH Berlin UX and conference that a great part of the meeting, or some part of the meeting, goes to discuss what each would like to discuss. And we have only 2 hours of DevCon. And so, like you were saying, if we can do some preparatory work or imagining something more productive. So there are these 3 main things, and there's gas abstraction, there is generic onboarding, which is a macro layer where gas abstraction is connected. But there's so many people working on gas abstraction that it made sense to do one unique thing about that. And there's another one about identity. So if you have any ideas about how to make it more productive, if you are interested in any of these 3 things, and Sarah wants to say something, please do.
Well, Ryan's already beaten me there because I don't know that she knows that I volunteered her and Hadassah.
I didn't, but I also volunteered too.
Okay. Because the both of them are facilitators, very professional facilitators. That sounds weird. They're good at it, is my point. And they would also very much like to go to DevCon. So here I am volunteering their services again for the best way to make sure everybody is heard, or the best way to get the, what we want out of those sessions.
Do you want me to speak a little bit to like a couple of options that we could take offline or online, depending on how you guys want to engage with that?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. So like, I think, for example, I guess at the very least, it's 2 things. It's either having a conversation where Hadassah or I could talk to you about what is the design of the experience that you want, whether or not it needs a facilitator, an external one. And then secondly, and then what is the facilitation of that? And if you want us to do that facilitation. So kind of 2 parts of that.
It's open. So I've been facilitating groups and workshops and all that, so I know what you're aiming at. I'm going to give you some context, which is these workshops or these roundtables are we merged, or there was a decision to merge like 10 different groups sometimes, or 5 different groups in the case of gas abstraction, which each had their own thing to present and wanted to do a talk about it. And also at the UX conference in Berlin, we just happened to be 10 people. Some of them, Philip was in the roundtable also for the onboarding, so maybe he can speak to that. We did a round robin to just talk what each one wanted to talk about. And it took some time. It took away some of the production time. And so just throwing there some information, but we should probably organize separate groups if there's people interested in onboarding and do calls preparatory for DevCon, maybe at the layer of, hey, let's facilitate something, let's create a format. And
could we possibly, sorry, I love interrupting, I'm sorry. Could we possibly have sign-up forms and make those public? That'd be great.
A good idea. Yeah.
So
yeah, I think
what's the process for getting people in the room? Are we playing gatekeepers and inviting people, or do people just sign up for these breakout rooms? And just to backtrack a little bit, are these roundtables the same as the breakout rooms that we're facilitating, or are these different?
No, they are the breakout rooms. The breakout room is a location, is a way also of structuring it. And we have 3 main sessions. One is your identities, you, Lily, Johnny, etc. One is gas abstraction that comes first, actually. They are separated. Your identity, I think it's on another day, but gas abstraction and onboarding, it's 5 hours, where gas abstraction has 2 hours, maybe? Or sorry, it's 4 hours, I think. It has 1 or 2 hours, gas abstraction, and then there is onboarding, continuous. So the same people that are in the gas abstraction will be already in the room for the onboarding, okay? And we will be opening to the other theme. So it can be a room where there are 20 people, or there can be 150. So for Ryan, or I don't know if you say that, who is an expert facilitator, probably you know that there is a difference between facilitating 20 or 150. So this is an incognito.
So I guess I have a question, which is what else were you gonna? I wanted to know, is this something that you want to do right now? Or is this something that we want to have a conversation offline? Like, is this the place to do that? I don't know.
Just throwing the stone now, and we can probably continue it later. We exchange context.
I'll have my people contact your people.
Yeah, and we probably can open in Conflux 3 rooms so that people can gather ideas there and say they would like to volunteer for facilitating, or they have ideas for that, or they are interested more in one or the other, so that we get a sense of, and do, like you said, Laura, the forums. That's a good idea too.
Another thing is that don't forget that you can actually coordinate with the official parties running the event to work on communications. That even if that means putting out a public, say, official blog post from DevCon or Web3. Like, I've gotten a thumbs up from Josh, I think, at least from what I know, that he'd be happy to support communication for everything we do at Web3. For example, our UX node, a good way to get everything out there is to actually just put up a post and then have it be published by Web3 Summit's publication. You know, it's better than just spamming people in chats, which we normally just do, right? And yeah, like that came from the need. I mean, like during ETH Berlin, a lot of researchers were just going around asking people to do research. One example would be Philip, right? And he just couldn't get the right awareness up for the need of user research. So even if you could put up even like a bulletin board of like different teams that need user research that need to be done, you know, and then get it published somehow publicly.
And the thing that we have, sorry, Dasha, just shut up after, that we have Web3 Summit before can be the place where we experiment the format and improve it for 1 week later at DevCon and done.
Just at like a high structural level, number one, this sounds really, really exciting. Number two, is it going to be controlled attendees or open to whoever is showing up at whatever time? Because that's going to fundamentally change how we want to think about. Okay, cool. Yeah, y'all, we're throwing a party and you can get audited. Okay.
I think, just on a side note, something I was kicking around that I wanted to run by you guys is maybe throwing together either a group on Telegram or Conflux, whatever it is, just for general like coordination. You know, like I'm sure it's going to be kind of a wild time there in terms of just logistics. Having some place to message everybody if we want to like all hang out, go grab a drink, do something together. What do you guys think?
Can we get our own Slack? I know people love Telegram and we talked about other options, but can we, I mean, I'm sure our design team can like foot the bill for this to like a professional Slack, but like, I think it'll be helpful to have different channels for all of us to chat, and it's easier to direct message people versus Telegram, where I feel like I'm using like a broken WhatsApp.
Yeah, it has its issues. That's true. If you guys are interested, or if you're on board with Slack, I can start a channel and kind of invite everybody.
No Slack.
Slack.
Slack
I
is
feel
not good.
Slack burn in the community, so
yeah,
I don't know.
I feel the opposite of that. You know, like Slack's the broken, clunky one, right? That lags and loads super slow. HipChat or Telegram, you know, hip chat master race. It's gone now.
No, we did a poll. Dan, very good question. I love multi-chats as well. And apparently the community does 57%. I don't know if you're seeing the screen. There's only 7 responses, so that's definitely a statistical significant amount. And so for now, multiple rooms is preferred. And I think we should, like we discuss it here. Slack has one problem. Communities, 2 days after, they run into the 10,000 limit. So we should take another route, which we asked if it's better Rocket Chat. What the fuck is this? Or what was it, 3? Discord. They like it more or less. Or
we won't run out of words on Slack if we get like a business account, which if we're posting bounties about Mean Girls, let us just get a Slack account. If people will use it, let's get it, because I want to be able to send files and to like integrate apps and run stand-ups with bots. And can we please?
You can do all those things with Rocket Chat, for example, and it's open source.
Yeah, but it's also like one more app that I have to download. And I know we're all on Slack somehow, and I can just go to my left tab and switch teams. And I'll never miss a message from anybody.
Consensus brainwashing.
We can do a quick poll in the chat. So you can do B for thumbs up and P for thumbs down.
Yeah, or they can still fill this in. Also, yes. Yeah, we can. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Yeah, but you need to add also Slack, I think. And IDEO already, like Tara Tan has a decentralized design Slack channel somewhere. Decentralized design, yes, here it is. So maybe we can join that already, you know. There's not.
Oh, she has a Slack already?
They opened it some months before we opened the Telegram, but nobody was responding on this channel. So
one of the first reasons we opened the Telegram and Discourse was because we had the conversations with the people that wanted to start the community up, and everyone was having issues with signing up for another Slack. So I don't know if those same feelings still persist throughout the major community, but I'd say Discord is a good alternative to that, just because you have voice communications in there as well. But
yeah, I love Discord actually. I'm all for that too. It's so similar to Slack. I'm all for it. I just want to get away from Telegram.
Can we keep our current Telegram channel as well? Because I want to see who uses which one more. Because I have a feeling that if we keep both channels open, right, we're just going to congregate back to Telegram, because even though our perceptions want something else, we just, you know.
Yeah, there is one thing about Discord, which also doesn't help for the communities, which is, I'm going to check now, I'm opening one. You cannot link to a conversation. You cannot grab a moment in time and say, for example, on Conflux, hey, this conversation is here. So when we were chatting on Telegram and you guys were doing a lot of good discussions, I was painfully copy-pasting it on Conflux to make it an historical, traceable thing. You know, that's the job of curators, that if we can have a simple link, that would be better, of course. So I'm checking here on the MyCrypto Discord, and I think there is no way, like I was guessing, yeah, there's no way to link to a specific conversation. While, let me share, so we do this with a share screen. Share screen again. Of course, you can pitch in. So MyCrypto, this is Discord. I cannot link on messages. I can like, yes, super. But for example, Rocket Chat is used by Aragon. Yes, let's open a new tab here. And Aragon It's a bit slower than probably Slack, but it works like Slack. And so you can, for example, announcement. You can hear permalink. This is so fundamental for communities, I think, my opinion, as having had to do that. So you can link from outside to something that happened inside of the community, in any room, in any chat, etc. This is one very added value to this, which only Slack has, I think. Slack 2 has that thing. What do you think? What do you guys think?
Sorry, I missed the last part.
You can, see, I'm unmuted. In Rocket Chat, you have multiple channels, okay, here, okay. And the most important part is that you can link, you can copy the link, and I can, for example, paste it here in the Zoom chat. Where is it? Come on, Zoom, where is the chat? Here, chat.
Hey, all, while we're thinking about chat, just real quick, what are the dates for the breakout sessions? Are they exactly during DevCon, before, after?
During.
Great, thank you.
Chat, what is this? We should volunteer some time to redesign Zoom.
Yeah, it's got real problems in terms of panelists. Like I missed a lot of them, and I blame that on the product itself, not my just like being distracted, I guess. Because it happens, right? I mean, I'm live streaming, you know, and what if I need to promote people and panelists? It should be a pop-up, you know, like we should all put a ticket in so that the product manager will like move the ticket up from the backlog potentially. It actually works well.
Yes. So yes, user error because you have not logged in. But if you create your own login, it will jump you to the message. But it's just a convenience. And that's, you know, when you go to Conflux, you will see some things that are interesting for that.
For me, I clicked it and it took me straight to the chat, to the specific message.
Do you have an Aragon? Did you subscribe to the Aragon chat?
No, I do not have a Rocket Chat account.
Oh, okay, weird, but that's good. It's open then to non-members of the community to read. Probably that's a setting that whoever runs the chat can set or not. And for example, when we talk about emojis or that, comparing standard best price, what is it?
We're about to wrap up here. So essentially, I think we're, Beltran, do you have anything else to show us in terms of the Web3Design group organization?
Not right now, only that on the Telegram, we're going to put up maybe a form for you to sign up and decide if you want to dedicate 1 hour with us for an interview and relating us your problems, the problems you found in your product service research, and the current solutions. That's good.
Cool. I think that concludes our week's call. Yeah. See you next week. Not next week, in 2 weeks, I guess. Yes. And that will be after ETH San Fran.
So, what chat do we open? Let's. We don't open anything, or?
I think kind of what I was thinking, at least for the time being, since we are all on Telegram, it might take some more time to migrate people elsewhere. If you guys are okay with it, I was just gonna plan on opening a new Telegram chat group, inviting everybody, doing that.
For what channel or purpose? For what?
For specifically focused on DevCon coordination around that. If people feel like that's something they'd be interested in.
Yeah, we need to chat somewhere.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we do.
Last question. Is anybody going to Crypto Springs in Palm Springs next week? No? All right.
Awesome. Or cut it off there.
Wait, I have one more question.
Okay, Ryan.
So just relating to the conversation of facilitating events, so on and so forth, is this something, I know that we'll continue talking about it in the chat. Is there a reason to have like a quick like half-hour work session where either Hadassah and or I can just get a sense of like, okay, like what are the needs of this group? Just so we can have a sense like on our end of, okay, what type of engagement are we having with y'all, at least to start?
A thread on the conflicts would be a good start, I think.
Yeah, we probably are going to, I'm going to create 3 conflicts posts for each of the 3 breakouts, so they're separated, and maybe we can relate to all of them in somewhere also.
Okay,
but
and so the expectation, I haven't used conflicts before, so the expectation is that we will look at those posts, we will read them, and then we will reach out to you with questions to start to better understand whatever we need to understand.
Yeah, we organize a call. It will be easier probably next week, and maybe in 2 weeks' time you have the opportunity to put yourself as a speaker on the agenda. It's open. It's permissionless crypto anarchy. I'm quoting. So you can put yourself and use that opportunity to propose whatever you want. I think if you want to facilitate, and thank you that you want to facilitate, we can have a chat between just the facilitators, no?
Okay, great.
Beltran, I'm gonna stop the stream, but I would love to chat you for just 5 minutes after this about MetaTX, the community itself. That's
okay. Yeah. 2 minutes because I have another meeting also.
Cool. Yeah, I'll be quick.
Sure.
All right, cool.